Our intros normally like us.
I'm getting goosebumps. So.
Is that here?
Other ear.
That Jack and Coke and stuff. But I want to introduce him, my brother London, and his wife Maud.
Hey everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, and they're going through some tough times right now, and we want to be the outlet for him to speak and to express himself, and tell the world and people that are suffering from cancer like he is that they're not alone, and that we're all going through it together. And that's why family is here for, and it's important.
Yeah, family is very important. So, London, if you want, you can go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm 37 years old.
You're old, bro.
No, I'm not old.
Dude, I'm 30, and I'm about to 31. I feel like I'm old.
It's 27 to be 40, dude, because my...
It's a new 40, dog.
Hey, dude, I'm 27, but my back's like 50, honestly, dude.
I'm so real. My knees are 80, bro, so we're good. Don't even trip.
Yeah, dude.
Well, I was diagnosed back in October 2nd, 2018. And how that first started was I was getting lower abdominal pains, and one day I couldn't take it anymore, and I had to call in sick to go to the appointment, see my doctor. That day I went in, and I was actually thinking that it was just some cramps. It wasn't that bad. Mm-hmm. Once I left that doctor's appointment, I was issued with antibiotics and blood works, and that ever since that I left, and I crashed my truck that day, and I blacked out, and that's when Maud had to go and take me to the hospital, knowing that it was just diverticulitis. Mm-hmm. It wasn't diverticulitis. They told me 3-4 days after that it was cancer.
Yeah, well, I recall when that day happened, you crashed your truck. Abel called me right away, and he's like, "Hey, man, London, he's in the hospital. He's not doing good. Let's go." Mm-hmm. So we literally, we showed up right away and stuff, and we were just joking around, cracking up, making you laugh, and so they just literally had done a session.
Honestly, I think that was the most painful thing.
I think it was my major surgery that I had that day. Yeah. And I remember you guys, your brother, your dad came by.
Yeah.
And your mom couldn't see me that way because
she wasn't feeling good.
Yeah, she wasn't feeling good. But that day that you made me laugh when I was in pain,
I was trying not to. That's why I tell you, hey, man, we gotta go.
See, that's one of the things is that both of us can't go to the hospital and visit somebody sick because we're gonna make them laugh regardless. So it's kind of we gotta go separate.
Yeah.
we're not gonna.
Yeah,
we've been kicked out of hospitals.
But
before.
I remember that night when you guys left. Mm-hmm. That's when all the whole family came by.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but I'm gonna put my own blood family on blast. But the only family that I had is my wife's. Mm-hmm. And that made it was touching.
Well, one of the things I always tell my brother, and I tell a lot of people is family doesn't have to be blood family. You know what I mean? Family is whoever's there for you. Family is anybody that you can count on and call. You know what I mean? And since day one, since we met you, and anybody we meet, we consider them family. Obviously if they tell us, hey, we don't want you as family, that's cool. But we're always going to consider them as family. And, regardless, we're always going to be there. And anytime you got anything you need, we're going to be there. Because at the end of the day, that's all we have is each other. We have each other to lean on if we need help. You know what I mean? So that's why most of us, when any of our family members are in the hospital, you know what I mean? We head straight on to over there, no matter what we're doing. Why? Because we want to make sure that they're okay. You know what I mean?
And I know what you're saying when you said that. That you found out who your real family was that day. You know? And my dad, there's a saying that he always says, en la enfermedad es cuando se encuentra la familia. Because it's when you're sick, that's when you see who shows up and who doesn't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we didn't even know what you had. You know, we were just like,
we
he's
were just
sick.
cracking jokes.
You know, you like, he's sick. Like, let's go visit him right away.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, Lolo is like, that's family. You know, like, we love that guy. I love you. You know what I mean? All the times that we spend and stuff, like all the dumb things we've done.
All the drunk nights.
Yeah. Oh, Abel and you guys.
All the good times.
All the good times. You know
all the good times. You jumping on the jumper when it's empty.
Making me vape that 12 Nick. Dude, I was like having a seizure after that, dude.
That's called memories, guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, but so if you want to just continue, you know, from when you got the news, like, what was your first initial reaction, your thought, you know, because like, you know, people should know how you feel.
Yeah. And
we want you to speak on that.
Yeah. Well, that day that morning actually, when Dr. On came by and it was my surgeon, my primary, and he's the one that cut me open and you know, gave me my alostomy bag, and he came in, closed the curtain, told the nurse to leave the room because it's not going to be good. Well, me and Ma was in there. And he said, I'm sorry, you know, you have cancer. And my first initial, like, response was, shit, am I going to die? You know, and in that moment, Ma had to leave the room because it was hard. It was hard. But Dr. On responded was like, no, there's many treatments out there. Don't give up. But that was a day where I was like, my life changed. And when my life changed that day, that's when I had to start fighting. You know, because it affected my kids.
Of course, yeah.
You know. So that being said, the one that took the initial shot was my 14-year-old.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and I had to talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, she understood that Daddy's not gonna stop fighting.
Of course not. We know you. You're a fighter, man.
Yeah.
So.
You know, so when I got through with Quetzali, you know, it was my little ones. They don't understand yet, but I had to explain to them what's going on.
Of course.
And it must have been hard, you know, especially since they're kids, and you know, a lot of the kids don't grasp when you tell them, you know, you're sick or this potentially could happen, you know, so it is hard, you know, and it affects the entire family, like you're saying, you know what I mean? So for kids, and especially at the ages, you know, when they're small, it affects them a little bit more because, you know what I mean? And not only them, but also yourself, you know what I mean? Because you're like, damn, you know, what can I do or how can I say, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it must have been super hard for you to...
Oh, it was hard. Every day since I got that news, you know, it was am I going to live the next day? And all this tests, all this CT scans, this MRIs, it was just constant blood works. You know, you just never got rest at the hospital. And so that was a battle.
Yeah.
Nightmares. You know, nightmares felt reality. You know, you didn't know what was dreams and what was reality.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I don't know if I was drugged up. I don't know.
Probably just hoping it was a dream, you know, that you weren't going through that, you know. I wanted to snap out of it because I thought it was a dream, a nightmare. But it didn't come out, you know, how I expected. Did you ever think that something like this would not happen to you? You know, because because, you know, looking back, you know, I don't want to get, you know, too touchy, but, you know, I mean, we were there for you when your father passed, you know, and, you know, the same situation happened to your father, you know. Did you ever expect that to happen to you?
Well, my father didn't die from cancer.
Oh, okay.
He had colon cancer, stage 3.
Okay.
But he didn't die from cancer. He died from dialysis.
Oh, okay. So that's what I mean. So you know, not a lot of people know that.
Yeah,
so you know.
Yeah. So, you know, that being said, I didn't know I was gonna get cancer. I was trying to avoid that. You know, I was talking to my primary. Hey, you know, doc, give me the test now.
Okay.
And she wouldn't because, you know, the protocol for, you know, in the hospital was 10 years before, you know, your dad got it.
Yeah.
Which is 42. He got it at 52. And I got it at 36.
And you know what? Talking about the doctor, um, it kind of sucks that some doctors, understand the protocol and stuff like that. But I think that in cases that it does run in family, like let's say like with our family, one of the things that runs in it is like breast cancer, brain cancer as well. Diabetes. I feel that even if you're not at the stage in the age where they have the test, I think they should test it just because they could prevent it. You know what I mean? Let's say, hypothetically, if they could have caught this on early, you know what I mean? It could have probably been way different. The outcome or anything could have been way different if they would have tested you when you asked for it. So I feel that doctors, if they know for a fact, hey, it runs in your family, so and so had it, so and so had it, and you're giving them a history of people that have it, I feel that healthcare professionals should test for it, even if you're not at the age where you say this is where you're in danger. I feel that they should do it because like everything, if you catch it earlier, it's a big difference. You know what I mean? So I feel that's one of the things that upsets me sometimes is when you go to the doctor and you tell them something, they're like, "Whoa, well, you don't have to worry about it. You're not at that age yet." But it gets me to think it's like, wait, like you don't know if I have it or don't have it. You know what I mean? I rather just test and know I don't have it than wait and prolong it, or what I mean, eventually it happening. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's like everything. Like they tell you like to listen to your body, right? And I didn't, and I could have avoided this rupture. That's why I blacked out and crashed my truck. It was that split second where I'm like, damn, I should have done something earlier, because this could have been avoided and spread to my liver. Now it's spread to my liver. And I should have avoided it. Listened to my body, and I didn't.
And touching back on the subject of my brother, do you feel like the healthcare, do you feel like your doctor, did you feel like they failed you?
Yes.
Do you feel like they failed
yes.
you?
Yes.
Because you asked for something and they didn't give it to you, right? It's like when you have that gut instinct, right? That's what kind of you had, right? And then you feel like they failed you because they didn't test you the way you asked, right, to be tested.
Right. Yeah. Most definitely, they failed me. And I don't know if it's Western medicine. I don't know if the whole process of our program here, our hospital, and all this bull crap.
Yeah, of course.
They want to make that money. And they're just waiting for you to get sick, so they could squeeze money out of you. But now my kids are affected. Now I got to get them at 26. The age of 26, I got to test them.
Of course.
And I'm not gonna let that happen, because when they turn 18, that's when I'm gonna screen them earlier. We did this genetic testing that
the 23andMe.
Is it?
No, this was done through Kaiser. So Kaiser, once you have cancer, they do genetic testing to see if you have the cancer marker.
Okay.
So
and the genes.
So okay. London and his family did the genetic testing, and they do have the cancer gene in their family. A lot of his mom's siblings and his dad's siblings primarily have passed away from cancer. That's something that we found out through the genetic testing. But it just makes it more prominent for us to be more on top of our daughter's health.
Of course.
A lot earlier than we would have thought before.
And I could imagine the stress that puts you under, because at the same time it's like you're going
not only worrying about yourself,
but now you have others that oh my god, are they gonna get it too? Like, I bet you that makes you feel very stressed out, in a sense, because like you're a fighter and you're looking to the future. So looking to the future, like that is a scary thing to look at, right?
Yeah, it's very stressful. I don't want my kids to go through what I'm going through, even though I tell them, hey, you know what, Daddy took the bullet for you guys. Now take care of you guys. Be careful what you guys eat. At the age of 5 and 8, for them to hear that is really heartbroken. It sucks. But because now their blood is my blood, now you got to watch out what their health is gonna go. It's hard.
It must be. Just thinking about it, I'll probably be in your shoes if like if the shoe was on the other foot, I'll be the same way. But you know, like you're saying, to just imagining it on like my end that I'm not there. It's hard. It must be hard. You know what I mean, for doing everything. And you know that's why like I tell my brother, I tell everybody like we'll help you fight. You know what I mean. That's what we're here for. Family's here. You know, to help you push. You know, I've texted you a couple times. Hey, you need anything? Call me. You
Yeah, most that like yeah.
You
I
need
mean,
anything? I'm there. Like no matter what I'm doing. The way I see it, there's nothing more important than I can do if you call me and say, hey, I need something, or text me, I'm going to be there.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? My brother has called me, hey, I need this, I'm on my way. You know, it could be the smallest thing, you know what I mean? But we all need a little push sometimes, you know?
Well, drugged up and not drugged up, I see that my family, you guys, has been 100% by my side. No doubt. I mean, I never doubted that. You know, other than my own blood family. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's really, really in the bottom of my heart, man. I would have to say thank you, and I love you guys, you know. Mm-hmm. I mean, I wouldn't have been passing 6 months to a year what they gave me till now. Mm-hmm. It's going on 2 years this October, you know, and the fight's still going to continue.
Of course, yeah.
We have to continue fighting.
So I kind of wanted to touch on the subject as far as, like, you know, because when they told you, you know, what you had and stuff, and you know, because Mod is here next to us. Like, how did it affect you guys? You know, because in the sense of like, you know, that you're, you know, what you're going through and stuff. Like, how did it affect you guys? Like in that sense,
we were living the American dream.
Mm-hmm. So you feel like you were on top of the world. Then?
We were on top of the world. We had what we worked hard for.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
We earned it.
Mm-hmm.
And for this U-turn that happened, and me being diagnosed with cancer, it did take a toll, a really deep toll, and we're still working at that. Mm-hmm. You know, it's every day is work. Mm-hmm. You know, it takes two to tango. You know.
Yeah.
And me being diagnosed, it's work in progress. Mm-hmm. You know, it's hard. Yeah. You know, it's she's my punching bag, mm-hmm. which I don't want to. You know, I don't want to treat her that way. Of course. But at the end of the day, it still has to happen. Mm-hmm. You know, I wake up mad. I wake up in pain. You know, and how am I going to get through it? Mm-hmm. You know, that's the question. So.
It was hard. I think, you know, when you go to these classes and they tell you all this stuff, you read all these books and you think of everything they tell you, right? And you're like, okay, we feel prepared. But what they don't tell you is all the other things that come with it. How much a person changes once they're going through these treatments. They turn into something that you're like, wait a minute, this isn't the person I fell in love with, the man I married. They just turn into something else because it's so hard, especially when they tell you, oh, you only have 2 years to live. It's life changing. But like London said, I mean, we work at it every single day. Every day is hard. I'm not gonna lie. Every day is hard. From the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep, to work on our relationship as a couple and as parents, and still trying to move forward. It is a fight. So not only does he have to fight cancer, but he has to fight to keep our family intact. And that's been one of the most hardest things I can say that we've been fighting on top of the cancer.
And if you guys could tell anything to people also that are going through this, you know what I mean, that might be, let's say, worse off than you guys, you know what I mean, what would you guys want to tell them, you know? What are some advice that you guys would give them to be like, hey, you know, I understand what you're going through. Maybe this can help.
Never stop fighting. There's days where I want to quit. There's days that I pointed a gun in my head. You know, both you guys don't know that. You know, my guns were taken away from me. There was days where I'm sitting in my truck, a gun pointed in my chin. And that was the darkness of my life. Because at that moment I thought about my kids. You know? And I had to think about my kids, and I had to keep on fighting, because I ain't gonna go down like that where they're gonna say daddy took his own life because of what he was going through. There will be plenty of dark sides, having cancer. But if it wasn't, again, your family, your tío Felipe, your tío Juan, tío Tonio, they had to come down and talk to me. And that's what I needed. And out of all those people, Michael was the inspiration. He stuck there. We had our dark days. We were enemies at one point, and we squashed it. Because I didn't need that. And we moved on. And so, turn to your family. And they'll be stuck with you. You don't have to count on anyone else but your family, because they're gonna be by your side.
Yeah, I think for us is just the biggest thing is talk to people. You're not alone. Feel the way that you feel. Cry your eyes out. Be mad. But at the end of the day, just remember what you're living for. You have to find your purpose, and you have to realize that there's bigger things in play, and have a lot of faith. I have a lot of faith in God, and I always say, He has a plan, good or bad, whatever that is. And I just have to have faith, and I pray a lot every day, every second. And, I talk to everybody I can, anybody that's willing to listen, because some days are really hard. Some days are harder than others. And so you need to talk to people and tell them what's happening, because if you just sit there with your feelings on your own, it can really eat you up inside. It really can. So reach out, talk to people, ask for help when you need it. Even when you don't, ask for help. And it's good to just have people come, and even if you don't want to say anything and just sit there, that's therapy right there. Mm-hmm. Right? And so don't be by yourself. You don't need to be. I think it was a loss every single time things started happening. It was like we were being told again that he had cancer. And at least for me, I think I deal better with things when I know from
like
a real life upfront, prepare me for things. I'm a planner, and I like to see things
instead of just out of nowhere, just they throw something on you.
Instead of a bomb being thrown at you every 5 minutes, I would have preferred that live testimony of what reality was.
So there was nobody like that had cancer that was there telling you guys, hey, this is what
no,
go
actually, no offense, like, I mean, if you're healthy, you're healthy. You don't have cancer, you don't have cancer, right?
No, yeah, of course.
But there's the day where Ma was like, well, what are you feeling? I said, I'm feeling like shit. And she's like, what kind of shit? You want to vomit? You want, what do you need? And I mean, no offense to my wife, but I'm saying I'm better off with someone that had cancer and knows what I'm feeling. For example, my friend Mark Palacios, he was diagnosed back in 2014 with testicular cancer. And he came down to my house and said, hey, how you feeling? And I responded back, you know how I'm feeling. And he replied back saying, man, he was like, I know exactly what you're feeling. And that same, that connection.
And is it because, like, you wanted somebody that knew you were going through, so they wouldn't have to ask you any questions?
Right.
That they wouldn't have to be like, how are you feeling today? Or what's this? What's on your mind?
Yeah.
You wanted somebody that already went through it, so they wouldn't have to ask you, hey, I'm going through this. So you wouldn't have to explain yourself? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, they know exactly what I'm going through. And instead of someone that was healthy and doesn't know the process of going through the cancer and going through chemo and what and all the doctor's appointments and stuff, I mean, they know exactly what you're feeling.
Yeah, and it's true, like how you said, if you have cancer, you're sick, and if you don't, you don't know, you know what I mean? Obviously, like for us, we don't know, you know what I mean? So we can't.
It's hard to explain.
Our question is like, hey, how you feeling? But like you're saying, somebody that has already been through that doesn't have to ask, because they already know. You just tell them, oh, I feel like shit. They know what you're going through, you know what I mean? Unfortunately for us that aren't in your shoes, we have to ask those types of
Yeah,
questions.
no.
Yeah,
And sometimes it is hard, you know what I mean, for you to try to answer.
It's hard to paint that picture, you know.
Yeah, because it's like you can't give us, like, it's not like you can touch us and we'll know right away. Hey, this is how you feel today.
But not only that, but it's like sometimes that you can explain to somebody a million times or different ways, and they still don't get it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet
it could be like simple fact. I hit my big toe, and I can tell you it hurts like shit. You know what I mean? But it's not. You know, maybe somebody that hasn't hit their toe and be like, oh, it probably it doesn't hurt that much.
Right.
You know what I mean?
it's like for example, like I've never broken any bone in my body, so I can't tell you how it feels to get something broken. You know what I'm saying?
It hurts.
You know, so either way, like you can't explain to me that it hurts because I've never felt that pain. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So for both of you guys, right? Do you guys feel that you guys should have like some type of, in like a medical field, like have some type of, like kind of like a sponsor that, you know, one person that has cancer and another person that doesn't have cancer, to help other people, you know what I mean, that are going through what you guys went through, to give them like a general idea of how it really is?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I think you need that experience. You need that feeling, you know. You know, it's hard to explain it to another chemo patient. You know, another healthy person. You know, it's hard. You don't have to be in the medical field. I think
No, but I know not in the medical field, but I mean, like, do you think there should be more like
like a buddy system,
like
right?
like a buddy system? Be like,
yeah.
let's say they give you, like, somebody starts some type of group and says, hey, you know what? These are a bunch of people that have cancer that want to get together, and these are a bunch of couples that have, you know, that one of their spouses have cancer. You know what I mean? To reach us, you guys can call us and ask us questions. You guys can, you know, ask us for advice. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Do you guys feel like there should be something like that?
So we did. I mean, we reached out to some support groups. The unfortunate part is because colon cancer is primarily in adults, people like 65 and older. It is now a new trend for younger people to be having colon cancer. So when we were calling around the support groups, everybody was a lot older than London. They were in their 60s, 70s being diagnosed with colon cancer. So it didn't really relate to to him and I, because they were a lot older, right? Now there is more of in a younger adult colon cancer support groups, but then COVID-19 started, and so we weren't able to go. But it's just recent that began, because a lot of people now, the doctors are telling us that now he's seeing a lot younger patients with colon cancer than in any other years. So that's something new that's happening now. So it would have been nice to have it in the beginning. It would have.
Okay. So it's kind of like now the boat has sailed and things. That it's you know, that in the sense of like that, you know, when you needed the actual, like in the beginning, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure now you guys are way stronger together, and, you know, have gone through, you know, hell and back kind of thing. So it's like now you guys are, you know, kind of like leveled a little bit in the sense of, you know, grounded.
Yeah,
you know?
I think now I think it's not that we're grounded or like we know everything, but I think some of the roughest parts have passed, even though we still face some things, you know, every day. We'll still face some things, but I think we're a lot better than where we were.
Yeah, we were a lot better back in 2018, 2019. Now I was a total wreck. You know, and when 2020 came by, and I remember talking to your mom about this. I'm gonna stay up as long as I can. That New Year's Day.
Yeah.
You know, and
I remember
and you know, I told you guys, I was like, I'm gonna stay up because I don't know if I'm gonna live next year.
You're like, I'm gonna eat whatever I want. Like,
I'm gonna eat whatever I want, and you know what?
I don't care if I throw up. Like, I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna do everything.
Yeah, I remember that day.
And I'm not gonna lie, man. You know, marijuana helped me a lot. And it's me eating, me being active, staying awake that night. You know, it helped a lot. So I turn to that. If I have to give another advice to a chemo patient or a cancer patient, I mean, so be it. Take it, because it does help.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard there's a lot of. I mean,
a lot of people also too. You know, as soon as they think of marijuana, oh, it's bad. You know what I mean? My mom was one of them. You know what I mean? Obviously, she hasn't smoked it. You know what I mean? Maybe when she was younger, I don't know.
I remember your mom coming by and picking me up to take me to chemo.
So my mom she's obviously doesn't have cancer, but she has 5 herniated discs, right? So I remember I had the CBD cream, and I told her, like, Mom, this CBD cream will help you. It's really good for your back. You know, she's like, oh no, it has marijuana. Da 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 da. I'm like, all right, whatever. Left it there. She never used it. I ended up getting her edibles. I told her mom, if you have pain, instead of taking Vicodin, instead of taking Motrin, instead of taking all these pills that can affect you, try this. I'm like, it'll help you. You know, she ended up giving in. She ate one, and she didn't have no pain. She's like, damn, I feel good. And I told her, see, mom, I was like, you automatically assume that it's bad. You know what I mean? But if it can help you take your pain away, you know what I mean? Why not give it a try?
Yeah, I mean, I remember her, picking me up at 6 in the morning, trying to get me, elevate my attitude. I was down going to chemo. I didn't want to feel the burning sensation when I was doing chemo, and she would bring me up. And I was like, you know what, Martha, give me a minute. I'm gonna go to the back. She's like, what are you doing, mijo? He's like, I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna smoke it. And no lie, I would go to chemo high as a kite. But you know what? It took my pain away.
I mean, there is a lot of benefits with the CBD oils.
Right.
And, they help, and not only for people that have cancer, but people that suffer from back pain. People, it helps with inflammation. All that kind of stuff. And that's great that you brought up that point that, for people that are suffering through cancer, that is something that does help. It's something that does help and, takes the pain away, so you won't have to, feel, pain. And not only that, but it also helps with hunger.
Right.
It makes you feel like, okay, I can eat now, instead of, going through the hell what you just did, And,
No, I didn't smoke marijuana back in high school, and now, my mom, she was against that. She's old fashioned. She's against marijuana.
It's but when lettuce.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? If you use it the right way, it will help you. I don't smoke it right now. I don't need it right now. I'm good. But if I do need it, I'll turn to it. That's it.
And and that's good that you have something that, hey, if I'm feeling crappy, like I can turn to this and it will help me.
I stopped smoking it. I stopped eating it, and I went into the potent stuff, which is it's called RSO, which is also a form of marijuana, but it was an oil form.
Yeah.
And it was that dark oil where you only take a grain of rice and it'll get you high for 8 hours. And then I took it. And I took it for 6 months. And it helped. The pain was it was really bad. And it took it away. And it just benefits. With someone that's really sick. Instead of taking, medicine from the doctors, making that money, where marijuana is herbal stuff.
Of course, yeah. Because a lot of pain medications are expensive. If you don't have health insurance, Vicodin is very expensive. Morphine, all that kind of stuff, that's expensive.
Right.
If you don't have the money, how are you gonna be able to help soothe the pain?
Not only that, but that kind of medication damages other organs in your body.
Exactly.
That's what I was just about to say.
And I'm along the lines of your mom. Never done any drugs, especially marijuana, all my life, and I was totally against it when London was gonna do it. I was like, wait a minute, this is a drug. We shouldn't be doing this. Like, never doing anything in my life in my 42 years, and but I saw how it benefited him over pain medication like Vicodin, Norco, and all that stuff, and. We're trying to save him and save his other organs that he has. Yeah. That was the next best thing was that. And I saw the things that it can do for him.
And all of that, but I mean, Norco gets you nauseated, dizzy. It gets you, all that. And then imagine getting out of chemo and still having to take those meds. Like, it just doubles up on you,
So it's like being a hammer dropped on top of you. Already have another hammer dropped on top of you.
Yeah. It's like being drunk, throwing up, and then just drinking again. Like, you're just doing it yourself.
Literally what you just said, that's how it feels.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because you figure you just got out of getting hammers dropped on you. For how long did the chemo take? Like,
mine was at first it was 7 hours.
So you figure for 7 hours you're getting pounded, and then you come out and still take like those Vicodin, Norco, and all those things, and then that shit pounds you even more. You just at the end of the day you're like, damn, fuck, like, can this shit just go away? Like,
yeah, no, I mean, chemo sessions are really hard. It's something that I don't wish on my worst enemy. Even having cancer, even being diagnosed, I don't wish that on anybody. It sucks, and sitting there for It could be 3 hours to 7 hours, and it's just really bad. I thought I work in the medical field in dialysis, and sitting. Our patient's been sitting there for 3 hours. I thought that was long, and me going through being a patient of having cancer and sitting there for 7 hours, really bad.
I bet. I mean, damn, being sitting down for
Yeah.
7 hours.
I mean, your mom had to go stand up, walk around, come back, ask if I'm okay. It sucks. It sucks. And she's seen it. And I think she's seen it when they almost coded me. They coded me. I stopped breathing for 2 minutes.
Oh, man.
And I fought through that. So, I mean, it's hard. It's hard.
What is it? I kind of want to ask you a couple of things, like, going through all this, stuff. Has it gotten you more closer to like in a spiritual sense? Like, do you believe in that kind of stuff? Because I know being with my mom, I'm pretty sure she's like, I'm gonna pray for you.
Look, yeah, well, your mom pushed me. Your mom, let's go back to where I was hospitalized. I was being hospitalized back in 2018, and my faith was down to zero. My faith was zero, dog. And I didn't believe in God. At that time, I was mad at him. I was cussing him out. I was telling him, I was looking up in the sky. I was like, you know what? F you. You did this to me. But you know what? That day when the doctor said, you know what, we had to do an emergency CT scan to see if it has spread to your lungs and to your other organs. When I was laying on that bed to get a CT scan and ready to put me into that claustrophobic little space, I looked up and I said, you know what, I'm sorry, but this is it. This is it, where I'm going to find out if I have 6 months to probably weeks to live. And I came up, and I remember it was Dana, my nurse. The oncologist was going to be up there and tell me the news on that CT scan that night. And I remember getting wheelchaired in back into my room, and then Dana walked in and said, well, Ma asked her, it's like, hey, what's the results of that scan that he just came back from? And she's like, you know what? Sadat's not here, my doctor. He's like, he doesn't have to be here to tell you the news. Well, I'll tell you the news right now. It's negative. It's been contained in the liver, and you're okay. So nothing big. You're okay. And we'll just move on from there. And I remember it was yesterday. And that was when my faith grew. And that's when I was going to work from there.
Well, it's like one of the things that stuck to me that my mom always tells me, and this is one of the things that I think is going to stick with me. My mom always tells me is that God's not going to throw something at you that he knows you cannot be. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Obviously, if I was in your situation as well, I would probably be like you. I would be like, damn. I would probably cuss at him and tell him all this shit and tell him it's your fault. You know what I mean?
I said a lot of ugly stuff, dog.
I'm pretty sure.
And you know what? He's going to turn around. He's going to forgive you anyway, because he's still going to be by your side, even though you did him wrong.
And you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, we're all human. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And when something happens to us, we get upset. We lash out. You know what I mean? But that's one of the things that I know for a fact that's always going to stick to me, even, to the day I die, is that my mom always tells me is that God's always going to give you whatever you can handle. He's not going to give you more because he knows that you won't be able to go through it. Mm-hmm. So he's not going to give you anything that you cannot fight through. Mm-hmm. Push, you know what I mean? And, you know what I mean? That's all we have to do is push, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And we got a lot of support at, I know London, his faith did falter for a period of time, but, the priest that married us, Father Raymond, from St. John of God, has been by our side every step of the way. Even today, he called, funny you ask, he called us this morning, didn't he? Mm-hmm. He called us this morning just checking up on us and asking us, how are you guys doing? How's everything going? And it's very rare to find a priest that will do that, will check up on you and, I tell London all the time, he has a lot of support from people that we've never we never thought he would get, and that's one of the persons that continues to be by his side. And I tell him, what more than a priest to pray for you, London, every day, right? Like, that remembers you, remembers our family. So, I think it's taken time. I think even now, like I said, it's a everyday thing that we go through. But I think now, his faith is somewhat restored. And we believe in God, and we always ask him for help every day. I know I do.
Yeah, well, it's been stronger than ever. He's testing. We just finished our RCIA class in church. We got our sacraments done back in 2018, before I got sick, before I got that major accident. And Father Raymond would just tell me, well, he's just testing you. He's testing you to see if you're going to give up, if you're going to turn the other way, And so to this day, my faith is super strong,
And then, like, giving, for people that have cancer as well, do you, in your sense, do you think that they should also look for, even if they don't believe in God necessarily, a spiritual sense to give them, like, something to believe in?
Oh, yes. Most definitely. I mean, who else you can be looking up on to other than your own God, all the things that you have to believe in, you want to believe in, spiritually, that would help you. Internally, like, try to get you to believe that everything's gonna be okay at the end of the day. It's not gonna be, no one's gonna be there for me, because someone always has to be there for you. There's always gonna be someone for you. So, that being said, you have to believe that you're gonna be okay. Because that is your world, man. That's your world. You control it. Mine is strong. The mine is super strong.
Yeah.
Well, kind of, talk about yourself a little bit, like, in the sense of, like, pretty much, like, who you are as a person. And,
London food.
I know, but this is for everybody to hear, like, family, friends, like cancer people, anybody that this can reach.
So tell them, like, speak to them, like, if you wanted them to speak to you. What do you want to tell them?
Or
what
if you just wanted them to hear
give?
you.
Yeah.
Where to start?
Yeah, where to start?
Dude, we can do this in sessions if you want. We got nothing to do on Saturday and Sunday.
If I'm gonna talk to someone that has cancer,
let's go there. Let's start with that first, then.
I'm gonna start with that.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that it's not the end of the world. It's not.
Next, aliens start popping out.
Oh man, we're all in.
No, it's not the end of the world. There's hope. Never give up. It's to the point where you give up, you let everyone down. And that's the one thing that I don't want. I don't want my kids to see this. That daddy give up. No, I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna keep on fighting. I'm gonna keep on pushing. I'm not gonna lay on my back and say, you know what, take me. The devil plays a lot of games. Especially right now when you're vulnerable. And you can't have them win.
Like, they kick you when you're down, kind of thing.
Oh, they kick you when you're really down, when you're face down.
And you're gonna make mistakes, and you're gonna do some really effed up things to people you love and you care about. True. But there's always redemption. You can always come back from that. Say you're sorry, and you can be. It's okay. It's natural to feel that way. I think even as hard as it is for your family to go through it, it's really hard to hear that you have, a certain time on your life, not like us that we can just walk by and not know. But it's really different when you get to hear, you know what, you just have 2 years to live. That's your life expectancy.
I think that changes everybody's point of view in life, especially when they give you a clock. When they tell you, hey, you got 2 years, you're just thinking, automatically, damn, I only have 2 years. What can I do? Like, they told me I can't do nothing, and unfortunately, that's another thing in the medical thing that upsets me is that doctors sometimes don't have hope. You know what I mean? They just tell you, hey, you have 2 years to do. You know what I mean? But instead of trying to give that like morality to, no, yeah,
right?
Of course, yeah.
But like I said, at the end of the day, dog, like you gotta keep fighting.
And I know this is like a fortunate, what is going on right now, but I'm pretty sure it gave you a different outlook on the way you live your life now.
Oh yeah, when that turned was when I had back in, what was that, 2019 January, when we had that fundraiser because Cobra, my medical, was gonna charge me a grip because I was out of work, and who came around was my family, you guys. That's when it turned.
Messed up a lot of tacos that day.
Well, that day, man.
Everybody,
we
was
came
a party
together
instead of a fundraiser.
I know, yeah.
Beer, tacos.
It was.
Like, do you got a liquor license, sir?
No, we didn't have liquor license. We were selling beer, right? We were selling liquor. It was poker night.
Tio Juan was giving the beer low key, dude.
Yeah, and that day when I just stepped back and I said, you know what? This is my blood family. And this turned around and said, you know what? There is hope. That day we raised around, 19 grand
The
to
only
pay
thing that
my
upset
Cobra.
me of that day, bro, is that you didn't make sure it's big enough for me and my brother.
What was that?
That's disrespect.
Oh, we made shirts and we didn't make the
I think the biggest was like 3X.
It was like 5X, dude.
Come on, dude. I used a lot of clout, buddy. I was a little sad. I wanted to
for the fat people, you should have made like not blankets, like towels and shit like that. So you can't put them on.
At least a towel. I could have dried myself with it.
But yeah, I mean, everyone pulled together, and I'm so grateful about that. I was, man, we came around. My mother-in-law came, and showed her full support, and till this day she still does. My kid, So I mean, what can I ask for more?
I'm gonna ask you a pretty dark question right
Uh-huh.
now. Do you think that if you didn't have the support you have, things would go differently?
Yes. You see, I didn't hesitate. Yes. Because if I didn't have the support, 6 months, dog, I would have been done.
By the way, you shot yourself the first time you had your gun.
I probably would took my life away. To the point where, my mother-in-law, my mom saw me walk out of here with a gun. That's my dark moment. If I didn't have the support and I didn't have her probably text me and say, hold up, you got to think about the girls, then it would have been different. If I didn't have my kids or my family, people to support me, Priscilla, Lena, then it would have been different. It would have been different.
For people out there that don't have the support of their family, or don't have any type of support, what advice would you give them to do, or what would you be able to tell them? Hey,
it depends on the person. If you want help, reach out. But if you're too cocky and you don't need anybody, that's not gonna help you. You're basically just saying, you know what, F it, I'm done. You can't. You gotta be that person where you have to ask for help. You can't. I ask for help. Sometimes I don't even ask for help, but I get help. People at work. Luckily, Michael lives. He works with me. Mm-hmm. So yeah, of course he's gonna look out for his little brother.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna see and he's gonna ask, "Hey, are you okay? You need anything?" That's the kind of little help. Especially here at home.
Mm-hmm. And then I know we've talked about your family here and everything, but we haven't talked about your mom, your sister. Like, what's something that you want to tell them that you haven't told them or you want them to know? Because we talk about your family here, but they're also going through, I'm pretty sure, the same thing.
That's all I have. my mom, my sister, my aunt, and my uncle. You know, my dad's brother's still alive. He's up in San Francisco. He hasn't even called me since this day, and I'm assuming that because his brother went through it, he doesn't want to have that last memory of me, you know, being sick. You know, it's easier for him, and that's his personality. But mom's, she went through a lot with my dad, and for her going through her own son going through it is hard, and sometimes I feel like I shouldn't be, you know, a burden to my mom, you know. And sister Janelle, she's probably staying strong because of my niece, and they don't want I'm her only brother, so yeah, there's days where it will get to her, but she's holding strong. You know, it's hard. She's not always with me. She's not living with me, so she gets feedback from, you know, Maud and you know, Priscilla and Lena, and she just holds it strong. You know, my aunt and uncle, they just don't want to think about it. They don't want to think that, you know what, London's sick. They don't want to think about that. So when they see me, it's like nothing happened. You know, they don't like coming to the hospital, checking me out, you know. They don't. But they're also holding it strong. You know. That's it.
So, one of the questions I wanted to ask is,
I've had a lot of questions, just let me know.
Oh, this is the whole point of this.
This is the whole point of this interview, dog. Like,
dude, yeah.
this, I want to be heard. You know,
you always starts off with, "I have one more question."
Yana,
They were like,
it's like one.
Yana, may I speak to the plankton?
No, and that's why we're here. That's why we're here, because, you know, we want you to speak whatever you want to speak. You know what I mean? Obviously, we have questions.
I mean, like, you know, I want to throw it out there too. Like, last week I got that CT scan. You know, my numbers jumped up from 5 points from what I was normally baseline. And yeah, it's tough. And so last week it was a really tough week, and that's when you know, I had to, you know, reach out to people, you know, talk to people, get my mind off it. And yesterday's drive-by, because it's COVID-19.
Hey, dude, I had the Uzi ready, dude, but they told me don't bring it.
Yeah,
Because it's a different kind of drive-by.
Should I like duck behind a car or? But you know, that helped. You know, it was more than what? It was 6-7 cars, and it brought me hope that everything's gonna be okay. You know, still waiting for the results, but at this point, I don't care about the results because I have my family behind me. You know, that means a lot. You know, that it was unexplainable what I was feeling yesterday, because I thought it was just, you know, her, you know, Juan, Michael, Anna, my mother-in-law, you know, Nani, and just to hang out. You know,
I want to say something though. Nobody said that we had to make signs.
Yeah.
So that's why they
that's
one.
What
Okay?
I'm about to say that. Like,
They left that part out.
Yeah, we didn't get together on the sign part.
The best
right?
part was though with your mom with the pot and the
Oh,
cuchara.
no,
That was
like,
Rosa's idea.
oh my god, that was like the funniest thing ever.
I was like, all right, I'm gonna get some air horns, you know, to make some noise. But I was like, air horns aren't that loud. I was like, so I remembered I had my matraca. That shit's loud as hell,
That
dude.
too, right?
So
yeah.
I was like, and I told her, I was like, hey, we need something loud. She's like, yeah, for sure, I got it. I'm like, all right, what are you gonna take? She's like, a pot and a pan. I'm like, are you kidding me? I was like, that's ghetto. She's like, watch me make
All I had was my loud voice. That was it.
Well, Johnny, all he did, he was the last car rolling by with, like, I don't remember
Dude,
what song.
He got
I
a
know,
ticket too.
why?
For speeding.
For what?
Because he was the last one.
He was the last one to get here, and he went to go buy balloons. I don't know if you saw the balloons he was hanging out of his car. And then he got a ticket And
there was no balloons.
And it's funny because we all agreed on a song. It was a Survivor song by Destiny Child.
Destiny Child.
And then everyone went rogue and started playing whatever the hell they wanted. And then Johnny was playing this other like gangster song rolling out. I was like,
I think he was the only card that didn't stick out his head, or he just pointing at me. Right?
He's just like, hey, is this the guy? And then they just drove by.
Yeah, so like he didn't even know where I lived. Like he didn't know where I was standing at. Like,
hey, where's London?
That was the
but
funniest thing.
that really touched me. You know.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was incredible. So that gave me faith.
I was talking to Anna, my sister-in-law, and she, I told her, I'm like, sometimes it takes a lot to really appreciate your family. And I said, but I do have an amazing family. And then Anna told me, she's like, you know what, Maud, it took me a long time to realize it, but you guys are a damn badass family. She's like, even better than mine. She's like,
and one of the things is like I tell everyone, all my cousins and everything, we might not always agree on things, but True. At the end of the day, when it matters, we're there. Yeah. Every family fights. Yeah. We can bicker over the most dumbest shit, but somebody's sick, somebody needs some money raised, somebody did something, whatever it is. Trust me, we're all there.
Yeah, like
no matter.
I knew that from that first day when you guys left the hospital and that night. I had like at least
hurting.
Yeah, dude, my incision. I thought my intestine was gonna pop out. Like I was like, it's gonna pop out.
Did you pop a staple?
I pop a staple because one of you guys said this joke. Yeah, I'm like, dude.
Se le abrió el staple.
One staple almost came out. I was like, man,
don't worry, I got the staple right here.
I got an industrial staple.
Got you, dog.
But that day I had like around like 15 people in my room, and
when we got there, we had to sneak in. They wouldn't let us in.
Well, because it was full.
Yeah, so I told my brother, like, you go that way. I was like, we did
room 106, but we said 105.
Yeah, we had to stay the room next to yours in order for them to let us up. They wouldn't let us up. I'm like, we're getting in there regardless.
And then on top of that, I had my friends come by at the same time when I had the family by, and I had people come by drunk.
Yeah, that's true.
Drunk. They went down to Louis down in that promenade downstairs because Downey's right next to the shopping center.
Yeah.
And they would do happy hour, and they would come down to my room and be funny as you guys.
Or they would call us from the window and be like, "Look out the window," and we'd go out there and they'd be all tore up in the parking lot.
They're walking down the sidewalk all battle like.
Dude, actually, that night we drank two. We drank one for you when we got home.
I mean, that's all I wanted, right? Like, you guys had one for me.
Yeah.
And then they're just blowing my face so I can smell it.
I remember like a contact high.
But besides thanking our family, we do want to thank our friends. I mean, London, we have a lot of friends that are like family, and they've been very amazing to us too. They've been very loyal to us and have helped us out throughout the entire way. And, I don't think we could have done it without certain people that have been by our side throughout the whole thing. And, that's why I tell London all the time, we've been blessed that we do have a lot of people by our side, a lot of people that we can call in a drop of a dime, and they will be there for every response, and I'll give you guys a good example. London's friend from high school, Ed, no matter what happens, I can call him and he will pick up my phone call, even when he's on beat, because he's a cop in Long Beach, and he will pick up my call and he will answer, and he like, is everything okay?
Hey, can you erase some speeding tickets for me?
It depends if it's Long Beach.
All right, so I gotta go to Long Beach to get speeding tickets.
No.
What's his name again? So we can all follow and be like, hey, I need to talk to so and so.
And we're gonna be doing some bad shit in Long Beach, right?
Just letting you know what section is yours.
That guy is. We haven't stayed in contact with anyone else from high school, and we're just me and him. We're the only one that stuck together, and I see him as a brother. We did a couple bad stuff. We went way back. A couple.
Play the lollipop song.
Yeah, well, we won't go there.
but
I'm saying,
he's like, which one is that?
Can you tell us about that story, please?
No.
The world wants to know.
No, but he's been a brother to me. And I would have to tell him, man, if it wasn't for him, I think it would have been different as well. He stuck to the worst times. We got into arguments and fights and disagreements, and at the end of the day, we're still brothers. So I give it to him. Give it to him.
And Julio. And Juan and Arlene.
The roll call.
And George and Rosie.
Everyone.
Right.
Mike and Liz.
Yeah.
All my girls. They've been amazing.
It's like MySpace. I'm gonna have them on my top 8. That's how you know. That's how you know they're real.
They're important if they're on the top 8.
I didn't know. What is MySpace?
In MySpace, you play music on the page too.
Yeah, that's all.
No, but I mean, everyone has came through and touched. I appreciate them and I love them to death. I would do the same. And there's nothing that will compare that.
Yeah, of course.
Your question?
He has one more question?
We're waiting for your question.
Well, it's because every time I say I have a question, this guy interrupts me, dude.
He has one more?
Yeah.
No, but
Another one.
Yeah, another one.
And another one.
After, getting, this cancer,
Mm-hmm.
I know it's pretty much intestine-wise. Is there anything that it took away from you? In the sense like that you can't eat no more or something like that that you miss, kind of thing like that. That you're like, damn it, why did it have to be this one? Kind of thing,
you're answering some, asking some good questions. Yes, I love my tacos, especially sesos. And I can't have that no more. I can't have beef. I can't have red meat. I can't drink no more. I can't smoke anymore. I was a big smoker.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do none of that stuff. Vaping stuff. That vaping space. Yeah, I miss that.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to do what I had to do to stay alive.
Of course.
I can't eat that stuff no more. I'll have it once in a while, but you feel like shit. And you want to avoid that.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, you could say, like, my recovery time is between weeks. So every other week I have my chemo. And I would have to rest, prepare myself for the next week, and the next week, and the week after that. So you can't eat. You could spoil yourself, but just a little bit. Just a little bit.
So in other words, I hear tacos next weekend?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to start sending them just pictures of tacos.
Yeah.
Scratch and sniff?
Yeah, scratch and sniff.
I think the biggest thing...
I'm going to buy you scented candle. What is it?
Tacos.
Scented tacos?
Like, be all that bacon grease.
Yeah. One of the biggest thing I think that London has lost is not being able to get in the water. I think London's a big water person, and that's been a big change. And he was all you guys know. He was always in the water, and now London can't do that no more.
And just as simple as like bending over and fixing something, because I got that colostomy on the side of my stomach, and that gets in the way. And you know what? Sometimes you're mad at it. Well, actually, all the time. All the time. But then you learn to accept it. And that's one of the biggest things you have to go through. Try to accept things, because if you just be mad all the time, which I am.
Let's be real. Let's be real.
Yeah, we'll be real. Like, I'm always mad, and it's frustrating.
We'll make sure to leave.
Yeah,
Start talking to them.
No.
I know we're big, but we don't look like we're not punching bags there.
He just said I'm his punching bag.
Yeah, I only have one punching bag. But yeah, it's hard to accept it, but you learn to accept it. You have to. Just have to.
So pretty much just coming to the realization that you're gonna go through all these motions, and you're gonna have to just suck it up, because you have family or people that you have to be strong for.
Oh yeah.
And then I understand what you say that. I understand what you're saying that that people are there for you, but at the same time you're being strong for them as well.
Yeah.
Because you're making a lot of sacrifices as well. To keep on fighting this fight.
Yeah.
Keep on.
I mean, for example, like I had this patient come by, and she's been missing her dialysis appointments, and not going in and not being compliant of coming 3 days a week. And she's only been coming once a week, and she sees me with my IV pump, because I got this 48-hour pump that I carry after chemo, which I'm still getting chemo after my chemo day. She sees me and says, you know what, if you could do it, mother effer, I could do it. And her outcome's been coming 3 days a week. And so I change one person, and it will be another person that I'm going to change, and sooner or later I'm going to be good because I'm helping these people now. It makes a difference. It makes a difference what I'm doing, because I'm still going to work full time and still battling my cancer. It's not the end of the world, like I said. You just got to keep on moving. And your Uncle Juan, he's telling me you should stay home. And you should concentrate on getting better, or concentrate on your chemo. I say, you know what, I'm not going to do that, because I believe that if you keep moving your body, drinking water, urinating, and flushing all that chemo stuff, and getting ready for the next week, I believe that's keeping me alive. Because if I'm just stuck at home, stuck in bed, of course, it's going to sit in me. The chemo, it's just nothing but mustard gas. It's gonna eat you alive. So if I'm home, I'm not drinking water, I'm not moving, of course it's gonna eat. I'll probably be 6 months to a year. So I keep my body moving, stay active. That's my advice for a cancer patient. Don't let that stop you. Don't.
And then also another one. Talking about what is it? I don't know what it's called. What is it called?
Ilostomy.
Ilostomy bag.
Yeah. So there's two kinds. There's a colostomy that my dad had.
I was getting that one confused right now.
Okay, so the colostomy is hooked up to your big intestine.
Okay.
The ilostomy is your small intestine. So where mine ends is the ilostomy, which is reversible.
Okay.
The colostomy, which is the large intestine, which my dad had, wasn't reversible. Because of course it spread in his large intestine, and they had to cut it out. They had to pull everything out, and so his was permanent. Mine's not. But I mean, the doctor still says we're not going to reverse it right now because I'm severe.
Of course.
So. Yeah,
and then touching on that topic is because there's just people that just, bad intestines, they suffer from that as well. I understand that, it sucks because you can't do certain things, bend down, like you said. I mean, because you're a car guy, you worked on cars, grease monkey, all these kind of things, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I understand that all this kind of stuff affected you, but what would you tell people that have that same thing, that are not suffering from cancer? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, well, you got to think about which one is important. You want to stay alive, or you want to keep turning ratchets? Which one's more important? You want to stay on with your hobby? Find another hobby. You can't put two things together anymore. You're not as the same person. Pick one. My job, of course, is hands-on, electrical. Dialysis machine, and balancing that is hard. But I got to make it through it. You got people at work that will help you. You got my brother-in-law that's there. And there's a lot of people who will help. Believe it or not, they'll help you. And it's not always being hands-on now. Your life changed after you got diagnosed. So pick one or the other. That's my advice. You want to stay alive?
It takes time. I think it took London a lot of, it's almost 2 years, and he still has days where, it feels odd to have his ileostomy bag, but I think with time and adjusting and just giving yourself that time to learn to accept your new body and kind of the changes that it goes through, you come to a good place where you're like, okay, this is my new norm. But just give yourself the time to accept it and really learn from it. And, I always tell him, because it affected both of us, right? And so it's about, even in our relationship, it's like, okay, well, there's other things we can do. So, it's about really just finding your new routine with this. It's not an added thing, but just with your new look. That's it. right?
It's not like I could take off my shirt, and show it off, because a lot of people will trip. They look at it and like, what is that on your stomach, And so that's self-esteem, basically.
That's why I don't take off my shirt, because my titties are always getting nervous.
And it's funny because I personally don't care. I whip them out. I don't really care. I don't give a damn.
I'm always like always covered, man.
He's self-conscious of that. I don't care.
I know what you mean.
I don't care.
But I mean, you learn to accept it. That's
was it hard, on your self-esteem in the beginning when you did get it?
In the beginning, when I came out of that surgery, and then you guys popped my staple, it was hard. It was hard.
Hold on.
Gotta
He
go
popped
under
your
again.
staple. I was just assisting.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but I mean, when I was in ER that first couple of days, they told me, well, we're gonna give you a permanent colostomy bag because we're gonna cut you open and that's it. There's no going back. Well, I was like, okay, well, let's just wait till my body settles down and antibiotics settles down and see what's up. Well, at the end of that week, I still got that surgery, so I didn't want it. I didn't want it. I'm that dude that walks around the house with no shirt on.
Yeah, I remember. We used to come to your house and you have a shirt. You're like, hold on, let me go get a shirt. We used to come over.
Yeah, I mean, it was a different life change. It was a lifestyle that you had to change. That's it. But you learn how to accept it. There's no going back anymore. If they reverse it, they reverse it. If they don't, then I'm gonna take it with me to the grave.
Are you still self-conscious about it?
Yeah.
Or if somebody saying if you were to have your shirt on and
Yes.
somebody were to say, hey dude, what's that? You're
yes.
oh, don't
Sometimes
look at it.
just 2 weeks ago, I was stretching. I put my hands over my head and I'm just stretching at work, and they're like, hey, what is that? I was like, well, it's my elastomy bag.
You're like, don't look at it.
It's like, what is that? So I had to explain it to them, and they were just like, oh, I just never seen that before, and then, but.
Well, we have an idea for that because my brother was saying, my mom, she's kind of crazy. So we're going to put everything on a little, card, so that she could just hand it to somebody and they don't have to ask her questions.
About what?
Because how she got the surgery, the VSG.
Uh-huh.
So every time she has
they
to
see her
explain,
losing weight, so she has to go
so
through
the reason
process.
I can't eat that much is because I got this surgery. So I told her we're gonna miss business cards so she can just hand them out and people can read them. So she doesn't have to explain to me.
So we can make something like that for you.
Yeah, for you.
Yeah, that would help.
He's like, hey, put a picture of that and then just hand it to them and here, read it. And then you just walk your way.
You just walk, go on about your business.
Yeah, dude. It's like, come on, bro, just read it and then just leave it.
Yeah, I mean, I get those a lot. They're like, hey, so do you feel like you have the urge to go to the bathroom? And I said, you know what? Sometimes it does because it's all mental.
Yeah.
Even though that your bottom hole doesn't work, you have the one on the side of your stomach's working. And they're like, can you control that? I said, no, it just comes out. But it doesn't come out.
Next time they tell you you can control it, be like, can you control yours?
It's like, here's a lever. She's like, yeah, here's a lever right here. And then you just click it.
Or just be like, I put my finger and watch. Watch what happens. See if I can control it or not.
You want to put your finger in there and check it out? You check it out there.
Oh my god,
But
you guys are funny.
Have there ever been any days that you just wake up and you forget that you're going through, what you're going through, or
yes,
or you forget that that you have the bag here, do you wake up and oh my, what is this kind of thing?
Going back, probably earlier this segment, when I said dreams feel like reality and reality feels like dreams. Well, I don't know which one's which, so I do wake up and I forget. I forget that I'm sick. I forget that I have cancer. I forget that I had the elastomy bag. That's the hardest because I need Maud to remind me, hey, take it easy. Remember you have this, And so, yeah, there's days where I'm like, I forget.
I got a perfect solution. So remember that movie with that girl that forgot stuff?
50 First Dates?
50 First Dates, and we're going to make a video for it. Go ahead and play this. Play me. No, I'm just messing around.
What?
So, I'm not going to say another question or
Another one.
If there is anything you would tell your future self, what
future stuff like.
So if you were in the aspect of 18-year-old telling yourself something, like right now, what would you tell yourself?
Go to the doctor. Make them check you.
Listen to your body. Mm-hmm. Like I said earlier, listen to your body, because if your body's trying to tell you something, don't ignore it, because I did. If it wasn't for that and I was more cautious, then I think I prevented all this. Mm-hmm. I don't want to go through this.
Of course.
But yeah, listen to your body. You have to go take your annual checkups, and get treated or prevent it. Preventive maintenance.
And do you think that the healthcare they should change the way they do certain things?
Yes.
So if you can make a change, what would be one of the changes you can make? Like, let's say, and if they were to tell you, hey, London, because of what you happened to you, right? We're gonna make a change, and this is what would can help somebody else.
That's hard, because I have an aunt that is a medical director, and I get the mixed responses from her. I don't know if they do their expertise of being doctors, but I don't know if they how do you explain it? If they take their expertise to where they do care about their patients, or do they care about their money coming in, how they're,
or like all the grade tape and stuff.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
that.
I think Western medicine, they have their set of protocols, right? Like they say you have to get tested 10 years prior to your parent getting it, right? But I think when there's a family history of cancer, it shouldn't be 10 years prior. It should be done every year from the time you turn 18 years old and on. But again, you have to be a very good historian, and so do your parents, to tell you everything you have in your family, right? Because we didn't find out a lot of things until they did this gene testing, the genetic testing, about London's family. London didn't even know that almost all his aunts and uncles died of cancer until they did that. So there's a lot of things that need to be put in place to be able to get
and
this
also
right.
too, it's a little hard, going back your family, what I mean, because like, let's say just hypothetically with our family, most of my grandmother and grandfather's family died from cancer, also like breast cancer, brain cancer. But when you live in Mexico and stuff like that, you don't have the type of medicine we have here. We know it because our grandmother used to tell us all the time, hey, we have high cholesterol, we have diabetes, breast cancer. Our grandmother had breast cancer. You know what I mean? I think on my grandfather's side, he had brain cancer. Their brothers, I think, or somebody in their family. So it's a little harder when they come from other types, like from other places that don't have the type of medicine to know for sure, hey, this is what runs in your family. You know what I mean? Till you come here, you know what I mean? But I feel that they should, like she was saying, is test. If you feel, like you're saying, if you feel something wrong, you know what I mean? You know your body.
Well, not even feel. If it runs in your the line of your blood, then go get tested 18.
Yeah.
Start early, because it's gonna come. My mom's side, no, my dad's side, actually, all his siblings, but my uncle Danny up in San Francisco, he's the only one alive, and everyone died from either pancreatic, colon, what else, breast cancer. His line is messed up. And my mom's side, I don't think my mom's side is my mom's side too. My mom's side too. And I just came from a effed up family bloodline.
Don't worry,
we are fucked.
No,
we just came from a fat family, not a fucked up blood family. Okay.
See, that's called healthy.
Yeah, you eat good, you look good.
Yeah, you feel good, right?
you are good.
But diabetes, high cholesterol, I guess that's normal, right?
Yeah.
Not normal.
Not normal. I'm big, dude, but I go get tested too. I'm the same way. I'm like, I know I eat a lot of things I'm not supposed to. I do sometimes try to eat a little bit better. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm not saying all the time, but I do.
I throw a little greens here and there.
I do go try to get
Liar,
tested for
you
the
know you like those tostilocos with the gorditos.
That's what I ate last week, you know. But I was spoiling
you know what I mean?
myself.
So I do try to go and get tested, you know, for cholesterol, for everything, because since I know it runs in my family.
Yeah.
I know I can have it, so you know what I mean. I don't want to be, have a stroke one day, or do something. If I can prevent it, take medication. If I have to, like you're saying, change the way you are to be better, why not? You know what I mean. Obviously, I don't do it, as you can tell with my panza. You know what I mean. But you know what I mean? I do at least try to get tested. You know what I mean, to know if.
I just want to make it perfectly clear. I was losing weight and I was going to the gym,
until
this whole COVID-19 happened. It all went to shit. I can't find good food, healthy stuff. I can't work out because my gym closed down. Like, what do I do? It's not my fault.
You know what's funny though, right? Is that he talks to that this, but he can go for a walk around his blog. But yeah, he chooses not to. So I love it how he makes that excuse.
I told my brother, I was like, when you flex and you get that line? I used to have a badass one. Now you can't even see it anymore.
It's just all flabby now.
It's all flat.
Yeah. He
No.
can fly away with those wings that he has.
But yeah, man. I mean, just take care of yourself. Listen to your body. I said.
So after this, we'll go get some tortas.
I mean, what restaurants out there is still open?
I don't know,
King
but
Torta.
See, all this COVID-19 just threw all of us out.
We can't do nothing.
Gyms are closed. Now
that's
you
why
got fast food.
That's why he gained 3 pounds. He said, because the gym closed.
my pants don't close no more.
Well, that's why you bring the gym to you.
Your button from your pants is social distancing? Or?
Yeah, social distancing, yeah.
It's following the social
I think the whole body is like just social distancing from yourself.
I know. Yeah. What was it? Michael was saying that he went to the store the other day and he said that the social distancing between a person that had the button-up shirt, the button was separating. It was like that 6 feet apart.
Oh,
Good times.
That's right.
So is there any questions that we didn't talk about, or things you still want to talk about, or is there
anything you want to get off your chest? Anything you want to tell people?
No, actually, this interview has been really helpful.
And then
why not say how much you love me? Profess your love to the world.
Don't do it, bro. It's just forever. Once it's on the internet.
This is not couples therapy.
This is gonna be on YouTube.
Once it's on the internet,
you're gonna
once
get
it's in the cloud, it can never
views.
come down.
Minus 300.
Once it's in the cloud, that's it. It's stuck in there forever.
Yeah, it's not coming down from that. Huh?
Exactly. It's stuck in the cloud forever.
Cloud 9 to like cloud 0 negative.
Yeah, I love you too.
Is there a message you wanna tell your daughters? Anything that you wanna let them know?
Want them to hear, you know what I mean?
Because like you said, they don't understand now.
Is this gonna play on my funeral?
No, oh my
what?
God,
Oh
dude!
my
Like, you being all morbid and shit.
Look at the smile I had, though.
Is.
Like,
yes, it is.
It is not. Look, for my daughters,
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, before you start. One of the things we could do also too is we can cut out this section if you want. No, to give it just to them.
No. Oh,
no. But I'm saying like in the future, in case anything does happen. I'm not saying something's gonna happen, but hypothetically, we can cut it out to give it to them if that's what you want.
Yeah, I mean,
or if you also too, if you want to come.
Can you stop interrupting the guy?
Can you shut up? Also too, if you want to give them a personal message to everyone without anybody else being there, we can also record that too, and you can also give.
Right now there's no actual message that I should take my because I have that hope where I'm gonna still live, right? Mm-hmm. And if I do have to give them a message, all I gotta tell them is that Gali, Mia, and Quetzali, that Daddy's fighting. Daddy's a fighter, and I'll always be a fighter. If I go down till my last breath, that I fought. I fought till the end, and I'm still fighting. And Daddy's never going to give up till that day comes. That's the message I'm going to tell.
All right, man. Well, we love you, and
it was nice meeting you.
We love you, and
see, that's why we can't be together. We can't do this.
But well, we're your outlet,
right?
And as long as you want us to keep on coming over here to
We will come.
talk
Oh, yeah,
about any
we're-
topic,
we're-
anything, we have to make a rap song too, though.
Yeah, we gotta
Okay,
make it
for
sure.
sure.
Fuck cancer.
Exactly, that's the title of the song.
Yeah,
okay,
it'll be
for
fuck
sure.
cancer.
Alright.
Not
Don't worry, he'll write out your lyrics.
horizontal testicles. Or is it,
Vertical
is it vertical?
testicle.
Is it vertical?
Vertical.
Okay.
Vertical testicle, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh my gosh.
Well, maybe like the next probably this podcast we'll probably have more people in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably I'll have like
You
more
want to
like
bring your friends?
you're
Michael, whoever,
Michael,
yeah,
Michael.
just
Oh my
let
brother,
us
that
know.
would be so funny.
Whatever you want to bring.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
charge though. Nah.
Yeah. We charge per mic.
You only have 2. We gotta share.
Because we're gonna go buy another one. That's why.
But yeah, I'll probably have like my cancer friends.
Yeah, man,
Cancer
for
buddies.
Sure. Let
Yeah,
us know.
let
so
us
we
know
can
what day so
come.
we can
Maybe you
come.
could
Be prepared.
podcast at Kaiser.
Yeah, we can
You
do
know,
that
we'll
too.
do live like from.
I'll go hack
from,
their system, bro, and I'll just put it in their speaker shit. I don't even trip, bro.
I work for
he
Kaiser.
has access to Kaiser.
Oh, you
bro.
do?
Yeah,
Which
so
one?
we're good.
Don't say.
Pasadena.
Oh yeah. Oh, Pasadena.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna do the Pasadena one, guys. Don't worry.
Hey, they just shut down the one in Cerritos, dude.
Oh no way.
Yeah, COVID-19 stuff.
That's no joke, man.
No.
Yeah, so just let us know when we do it, and we'll come through.
Yeah. Hopefully
Alright.
this hits more than 300 views.
Hopefully. Well, I love you, brother.
Love you.
I love you too.
Love
man.
you, London.